Well, hi, hey, hello, everyone. How are you doing? Me, I am doing just fine. Went out thrifting today and ended up at Barnes& and Noble. So, what else does one do when they've been shopping at Barnes& and Noble but come home and do a book review? And what I'm going to be reviewing today is Battle Royale. Now, if you don't know what Battle Royale is, I would call it the ancestor to the Hunger Games. Now, we all know, if you watch this channel, how much I love that trilogy. In fact, there is a Hunger Games coloring book. And I don't think I have to answer the question of whether or not I brought that home from Walmart or not, okay? Now, the thing is, I almost didn't read this because of its comparisons to that trilogy. And the reason why is, well, a big reason I fell in love with the trilogy of the Hunger Games is not just the plot, which I thought was pretty cool and everything, but the character development. You know, the character growth and everything. The comparisons to the real world. Her love for her family and her sister. It had family. It had oppression. It had, things of prejudice and stuff in it. And struggle. Poverty. And understanding each other. It had a lot more than just kids killing each other. And whenever anybody would compare the Hunger Games to Battle Royale, which this came out first, it did, everyone was like, well, Battle Royale is so much more gruesome and better, and this all of it was usually about its violence and everything, which, yes, the Hunger Games has violence and everything. That's a part of its action part, I guess, and everything. But the thing is, this had so much more than gruesomeness to it. In here, we are exposed to different characters. Now, unlike the Hunger Games, it's not told from first-person point of view. It's third-person. But we get background stories of these characters, both good and bad. And honestly, except for the kids killing kids part, there's not... I mean, there are points in here where it gets hard to believe that Suzanne Collins had never heard of Battle Royale when she was writing that. But they still are both their own stories. And there are things in here, from what I know, are in stories before this even. So what is this story about? So, basically, in the future, they're in Japan, I should say, because it is, yeah, it's from Japan, or it was written by a Japanese author. So, I know there was something in here explaining exactly how this is supposed to go and everything, but I'm so bad at finding stuff. So, basically, in the future, there is, like, a lot of unemployment, and, of course, kids turn to bad stuff. They don't listen, they don't obey adults, they run wild, causing havoc and this and that, and just being bad kids. So the government comes up with what they call the Battle Royale Act. And basically, as the story goes, there is a bus full of kids. There's like 42 children in like this 9th grade class, or Class B, I guess it's called. I didn't quite understand it because things are different here in America and how we do stuff, but Class B, 42 students. Basically, they are supposedly going on a field trip, and they wake up, they're gassed, basically, and then they wake up in this classroom. They wake up, like I said, in this classroom with these collars around their necks. And then one of their old teachers comes in, plays a video for them of this woman telling them that they are on this island. They have evacuated this island for these 42 kids. And what's going to happen is that they have 3 days to fight each other to the death. If no one is the lone victor by 3 days, I think that was the time limit, the collars on their necks will basically explode. Also, if they are in these forbidden zones, which there are time limits on spaces they can be on the island, again, the collars. So basically, these 42 children are given these survival bags with different stuff in it. It can range from a good weapon to a pot lid. And they are sent off at different times to kill each other. Now, the differences between Battle Royale and the Hunger Games, basically, is 24 versus 42. There is no reaping in Battle Royale. Basically, like I said, a bus full of children are gassed and brought to this island. It's basically random. Again, Hunger Games were random by the reaping and everything, but instead of 2 children, it's 42 all at once. So like I said, it had slight similarities, but it still is its own story and everything. And honestly, I enjoyed both. I think both are good, you know, as their own stories and everything. Melina Pendulum, which is a YouTuber I really like, she mentioned how Battle Royale was, I guess you would say, more realistic, and how they would be able to get away with this, which I do tend to agree. As much as I do love the other trilogy and everything, Battle Royale probably would be more realistic in how the government would go about it and everything. I like the characters. They didn't focus on all of them because there are 42 students and everything, but the thing is that there were specific ones that had ongoing stories because they kind of teamed up and stuff. There was a guy and a girl who teams up with this other guy, and we kind of learn past stuff about this one guy. There were 2 girls who decided that they didn't want to fight, and they were going to try and get everyone to join them. Things didn't work out too well for them, which is kind of sad because you feel bad for the good people and everything who end up dying. But I did like that we even had a little bit of background and stuff on not so desirable characters and stuff, and that they kind of have their own moment, whether we like them or not. I just like how kind of diverse it was with the characters. That is something we didn't get with the other books. That's something we don't get with a lot of other books all the time. We don't get that a whole lot with first person. As much as I love first person, I think sometimes to show multiple things going on, you kind of need third person. But I'm a person who likes to get into the character's head. And this author here was able to do that with third person. And I really enjoy that. Now, the movie. As a movie, it was good. However, because I had read the book first. Oh my god, my freaking hair. Alright, because I had read that first and everything. It lacked to me. See, normally I end up reading a book after I've seen the movie or after the movie's out and everything, and it's all hyped up because for some reason I never hear of them, or I just don't give them a chance because of the hype and everything else, and I'll just kind of go on my own pace and everything. But yeah, like I said, there was so much comparison and everything, so I checked it out, and I got the chance to read this first before I seen the movie. The movie was on Netflix, and it was like bothering me and everything because I really wanted to watch it. I'm like, no, you know this book exists. Read the book. You want to read the book first. Okay? So, not long ago, I had ordered the movie from the library. And, yeah, as a movie, it's good. But the thing is, having read the book first, it just lacked in the character development. It took out so much dialogue. What the movie was a big reason why I almost didn't read the book. Because everyone talked about its violence and everything, and its gruesomeness and stuff. And yes, the movie has a lot of that. It does have a lot of good scenes and everything. It does. As a movie, it's good and everything. But it just cut out so much dialogue you don't get to see who these characters are, who they were. It's just... I mean, honestly, if I wanted to watch a whole bunch of death scenes and everything, I could just look that up on YouTube. And it's not to say that I hated the movie. I may watch it again. Hell, I may even own it one day. But there are better book-to-movie adaptations. The thing about it is the acting wasn't bad or anything. It's just they cut out so much of who the characters were. There's a point in the story where two boys are talking and one asks if the other has a crush on anyone. And one tells him that he likes this girl, and of course the other asks why. And he's like, when she does this, she's pretty. When she does that, she's pretty. And you're reading this book, and you come to realize that these 42 children have to kill each other. So he is never gonna get to ask this girl out. He's never gonna get to take her on a date or to a dance or anything. And, you know, he's gotta realize that even if he lives, if she lives, they'll never be together. It's those little things. That whole idea of helplessness, of fear, of trust, of everything that you would expect in that kind of story. It's really cut out in the movie. Like I said, the movie's not bad, it's just so much of the story I think is missing. And I was kind of disappointed when I watched it because those kind of things really do make it dark like it's supposed to be. Darkness is not always blood and gut spilling everywhere. Sometimes it is raw human emotion. The thing about like the Hunger Games and what, even though it's not as bloody as this, what makes it morbid is that they are subjected every year to not only randomly pick children, but they are made to watch the death of their children by other children on big screen TVs outside or even in their home. It's mandatory viewing. Whereas like in Battle Royale, the parents are kind of spared that part. It's a little bit more gruesome and everything among the children themselves. So the whole idea of gruesomeness and morbid things are really up to your interpretation of what you find dark, and how you view things in the world. So if you've been looking around, if you've maybe heard of Battle Royale, and you weren't too sure like I was, because the only thing that's hyped up is its violence and not its characters or its writing style or anything, ignore it and give it a chance, because it really, really is good. In fact, hell, look at this. That is the price right there. And with tax and everything, it came out to like 18 something. So I almost spent almost $20 on this. So obviously I liked it. And do watch the movie too. It's not bad, but I do recommend reading the book first. But anyways, that is my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.